My solemn greetings to all of you on this particular late evening of Monday, the 18th of October of the Gregorian year 2021. Solemn and slumber greetings I crave leave to extend also on the death of one of the most prominent politicians of the world. I'm referring to none other than late Secretary Colin Powell of the United States of America. But this day is also gravely, and I emphatically use the expression gravely significant in my life, because it is also called International Anti-Slavery Day. Slavery may shock certain individuals in this current age because most of us, if not all of us, are fully aware of the norm that slavery is illegal. And anyone who solicitates or abates or aids slavery makes himself or herself an offender per se. And indeed, if I may use the expression ad infinitum or ab initio et ad infinitum. But it is not merely regrettable, but it is also sad and tragic that slavery continues in our world, even today, even at this very moment, while I'm endeavoring to address you, my most beloved, respected, indeed dearly loved friends and fellow global citizens of the world, even the respected viewers of this live telecasting. Slavery does not merely continue, but it continues more intensely, more vividly, and indeed more inhumanely, I beg your pardon, more inhumanely than ever before. Certain slaves have very short lives to live, which include babies and infants who are often trafficked from one place to another in order to have their organs transplanted. Those babies often die even on the very operation tables onto which they are brought. And therefore my statement that they have short lives to live is well founded upon sound grounds, even to my most sincere and utter regrets, based upon my most frustrating disappointments. But many others face a far greater ordeal in life, perhaps throughout their entire lives. Too many children are trafficked into various parts of the world, particularly from the developing countries to the industrialized world, who are often used not merely as domestic servants, but are abused by their tormentors who torment them, having exposed them to immorality of various kinds and types. It is absolutely unpardonable when children are victimized to fall into the trap of immorality. And if I may use the expression with all due apologies to the ladies and to respected viewers, to brothels. Whereas girls and women are often exposed to immorality in red light areas of the world, even in my own country, which practically is, again to my utter shame, is on the top of the list. A country in which human trafficking and illegal slavery have become a regular routine rather than exceptions to the rules. My late grandfather, I beg your pardon, and many of my family members, including my late father and uncle, endeavored to serve the poorest of the poor to the best of their ability. And indeed, my late grandfather and many of the other relatives, including my late father and uncle, wanted to see a better country of theirs, to see their fellow global citizens, but also their fellow citizens of this country be truly free, truly liberated, truly being considered worthy citizens of this country. But I'm utterly enraged to see that so many of my fellow global citizens and fellow citizens of this, my own country, are victimized to illegal slavery, and they are exploited so inhumanely. This day of International Anti-Slavery, or this Anti-Slavery Day in the international sphere, is vividly significant in my life, because I have been campaigning against such heinous crimes, not merely for days or weeks or months, but for a number of years, yet have achieved almost nothing practically, despite my benevolent and relentless efforts to achieve the goal of eradicating human slavery. I happen to be utterly exposed to the darkness and hopelessness of future, although I had initially hoped that my campaign would be able to move many, if not most, of my fellow citizens and global citizens of this earth to come forward, speak out, and speak up on behalf of those victims who are often too timid or too feeble, or have been weakened too desperately to be able to speak up on their own or to speak out, even in absolute fear of graver persecution, with which they are confronted even today. Alas, my efforts have become totally meaningless in reality. How pathetic on my part. How shameful for me, a human being who has been unable to move his fellow global citizens, even his fellow citizens of his own country, to come forward and battle against such heinous, shameful, and unpardonable crimes, which include, of course, human trafficking and illegal slavery and corruption of various kinds. Why do we forget the fact that even a single lamp lighted in darkness can shake the darkness, can shiver the darkness, can enlighten all those who are in that darkness? Why do we forget that Kinderreim, which begins something like this: little drops of water, little grains of sand, form the deepest ocean and the enormous land? Why are we so reluctant to come forward and speak up and speak out on behalf of those who are unable to do so? Even those victims of human trafficking and illegal slavery, who are perhaps unable to come out of those vicious circles in their entire lives. If we claim to be worthy human beings, we must show humanity, even in fighting such evils, if I may use the expression in inverted commas or in speech marks. These existing evils, these continuing evils, these ever-increasing evils of the heinous crimes of human trafficking and illegal slavery. Let us take this pledge even on this solemn International Anti-Slavery Day. I thank you wholeheartedly in anticipation for your kind and humane response to my call. While I bid you the protection of the same Creator, the only Almighty and eternal Creator of all of us, who created even those helpless victims of human trafficking and illegal slavery, and bid you a solemn night of this International Anti-Slavery Day. Thank you once again from the very core of my heart.